are here for you to see whether you understand spreadsheet, to help you understand the different features, how to use it, and so on. So let's continue exercise 2. So group 6, go ahead.
Okay, so we're continuing from number 23. Okay. A loan of 30,000 was used to manage the donations collected and pay staff. The interest rate is 7.25% and the repayment time is 5 years. Type the following data in the same main sheet starting at column J. Okay, so we already got the information. In cell K6, type equals PMT,
Khadija, that's zoom
open
in.
brackets, open bracket K4 slash 12, comma, K5 asterisk 12, comma, K3, close bracket. Enter. Yes, enter. Yes. So we basically we're using this formula because it calculates the payment for a loan based on constant payments and interest rate. So that's why we use this formula. Okay. Next, save the spreadsheet again. I think we did
Yes.
save it, right?
Khadija,
Yeah.
just zoom in for us.
Save it again.
Moving on.
Khadija,
Okay. Yes, sir.
zoom in.
Oh,
Mm, okay.
Good.
okay.
Hold on. Let's
Yes,
have a look
sir.
at the formula first before we move on. Now, open back the formula. So, why are we dividing the K4 by 12?
Sir, why are we dividing the K4 by 12?
Yes.
It's a financial function. It's used to calculate the payment
Yes, we
for a
understand.
loan.
Yes, we understand that. But in the formula, why are we dividing it by 12?
Because it's the number of months in a year.
Yeah.
So, dividing it by 12 will do what? That's what I'm trying to get at. Dividing it by 12, what will happen there?
I
Simple.
think you will get the interest rate.
The K4 is the interest rate. So if you divide that by
Yeah.
12, basically what is supposed to
You
happen, or what will you get, or
um I think
you need you
that's
need
gonna
some
be
more, Irani?
the rate like for um months period because you divide it by 12.
Very good. That's what I'm looking for. So
Yes.
the interest that you're seeing there, that's 7.25, is actually the interest for the year, for the entire year,
Yes.
1 year.
For the
Overall, 12 months. Yeah.
And if you divide it by 12, you get the interest rate per month. So normally persons make loan repayments monthly. So that is why we are dividing it by 12 there again. But the K5, why are we multiplying it by 12 and not dividing it by 12?
Could you please grab the collator and do the major one?
Um, K5.
I'm not hearing.
Um,
I'm not hearing for the rest of the group members.
interest.
Unica or Durrani, why are we multiplying the K5 by 12?
Certifying for a year.
The K5 is already a year. It's 5 years to be exact. So why are we multiplying it by 12?
Sir, to find out the repayment time for the 5 years.
To find out the repayment time? That's what you said?
The repayment, the amount of money they have to repay. Sorry.
Okay. I'll accept that. Um, Basically, it's the same as dividing the K4 by 12. Dividing the K4 by 12 would give you the interest rate per month, and multiplying the K5 by 12 will give you the um, the loan period, which is actually 5 years in months. So because you have the interest rate in months, that means you also need to have the period in a similar value, or so that you have to have it in months also. So that is why you're multiplying it by months. Now, and then the K3 will remain the same because that is the loan amount. Now, if you wanted to, so this is to help calculate per month. If you wanted to calculate the yearly repayment, what would you do to this formula? What would you choose to
Sir,
do about this formula? Yes.
multiply instead of divide.
So basically, do the recreate the formula, not recreate it. Basically change the formula and to let it calculate for the yearly repayment, because right now the formula is calculating the monthly repayment. What you can do is create another formula below. So on the left of this repayment, type monthly repayment. You can go in the cell before it. Go to cell I6 and type monthly.
Cell I6.
Good. And below that now, type yearly repayments.
In the same cell?
Similar to how you have it above.
Okay.
Good. So now, with that formula now, see if you can create a formula that would calculate the yearly repayment based on the explanation I would have given you for that formula earlier. How would you calculate the yearly repayment? you can look back at the old formula. If that formula calculates monthly repayment, what would you have to do if you want to see the yearly repayment? All right, let me help you out quickly because we don't have the time for this. Um, you know what you're doing? All right, go back to the formula. So nobody from the group knows what you should do. Press escape.
Instead of, I think instead of K4 divided by 12, I think probably should multiply it.
It's simple maths. So if you think about it, the K4 is the interest rate. That is for the yearly interest. 7.25 is for the year. Now, why are we dividing it by 12? Because we want to convert it to months. Simple maths. So if we want to keep it as years, what do we have to do? If you want to keep K4 as years, what do you have to do?
So divided by 5.
You just have to use K4 only. K4 is already for 1 year. So you just have to put K4, comma, and then the next part. So let me look at the other part now. K5 multiplied by 12. Now K5 is 5 years. So we multiply it by 12 because we're doing a conversion. We're converting it to month. So if we want to keep K5 as years now, what would we do?
Just just take out the 12.
That's it. It's simple as that. So create your formula now. Good. So open back the formula. K4 is already in years, K5 is already in years, and we have our loan payment. So not converting it will give us the yearly payment. And if you open the monthly payments, the monthly repayment formula, dividing and multiplying by 12 will convert it to the necessary months. So, is there anyone in class that has any questions on PMT, or could we move on?
All right, no, sir.
All right, so let's move on.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to exercise 3. Type the following data in a new sheet of the donation spreadsheet. So yes, we already had it typed out. Um, Rename sheet 2 as expenses. As expenses.
All right, give me a second. Let me give me a second. I'll come back in a minute.
Okay.
Yes, I'm back. Continue with the presentation.
Yes, so number 3, in cell E4, type in cell E4, type equals C4 asterisk D4. In cell no, in cell E4, type equals C4 asterisk D4. C4 asterisk D4. So yes. And use the autofill feature to drag the formula from cell E4 to cells E5 to E7. So that's calculating the total cost. Good. Number 5, use the name box to name cell F2 as disk. Cell F2 is 15% as disk in all caps.
Alright, just pause there. So, question. Um, so in cell E4, you created the formula C4 multiplied by D4. Let's see the formula. Good. Now, when you autofill in cell E7, open cell E7, it changed to C7 and D7. Why is that the case? Why did it change? Daniel Bailey, this is not the place for that.
Sir Emily called me something. I'm asking him what.
Yes, group 6. Why did the value change? Why did the cells change? The feature has a name. That's what I'm looking for.
So change because relative addressing.
Sounds like you're on the right path, but I'm not hearing you clearly. Could you go that back one more time? What was it?
Sir, I'm not sure what happened to her mic, but she said relative addressing.
Very good. That's what I'm looking for. Relative addressing. So, because of relative addressing, that is why the cells would have changed. Good. Continue.
In cell number 6, in cell F4, enter a formula to calculate a discount of 15% on each service. Type equals E4 asterisk disk. E4 asterisk disk. Use the autofill feature to drag the formula from cell F4 to cells F5 to F7.
Good. When you finish, open cell F7.
and enter.
So, question. In this case, why didn't the cell this change?
Sir, absolute addressing.
Very good.
Yeah.
Absolute addressing. So, absolute addressing is used when you do not want a cell to change. So, in some cases, we have a cell with a constant value, like that percentage there,
Yes, sir.
to basically do a calculation. So we don't want that value to change, we don't want that cell to change. So we use absolute addressing. But in other cases, like in column E, we want the cells to change in order to do the calculation. So that's why we use relative addressing in those cases. Continue.
Okay, moving on to number 8. Format the cells in the cost, total cost, and discount columns for currency with two decimal places.
Sir, should I leave the symbol or change it?
You can change it. You can show everyone how to change it.
Okay.
I hope everyone is seeing how you format a cell. So when you're formatting, you shouldn't highlight the heading also, because remember it's just the data you're formatting. Another thing is that um, to make it represent currency, we're formatting it as currency. I don't think that's the full format of the currency.
Okay, so I should add a dollar sign.
Yes. So in this case, close the box. In this case, it's asking you to um, format a few columns inside of your table. So what you're doing right now, it actually takes up a lot of time. So close the box. What you should have done is highlighted the two columns that are near each other. Highlight total discount, total cost, and total and discount also. And then you format it. Good. Continue.
Number 9, update cell F2 by changing 15% to 12%. After that, name the range A4 to C7 as service. A4 to C7 as service. A4 to C7 as service in all caps.
Is that the correct range?
Yes, sir. A4. Wait, no. A4 to C7.
Yeah, I got it.
A4 to C7 as
Okay.
service. And after that, save the spreadsheet again.
Good. This is a very nice situation that we're in right now. So
Mm-hmm.
if anyone noticed what is going on right now, Khadija just named cell A4 to B7 as service. But in her situation, that wasn't the right um, range that she needed
Uh,
to name. So when she go to highlight the correct range, try back again. Highlight the correct
Okay.
range. And when she goes to name that range the same services, look what happens. Try it again.
Yeah, it's going back.
Basically, what's happening there is that it is highlighting that range because you already created it. So in spreadsheet, a name is unique. So not unique, well, unique just left. But a name in spreadsheet is unique in that there is only one of it. So there is only one B1, there's only one cell H1, there's only one cell A1. So when she named that range service, she could not have named it anywhere else. So in these cases, what you have to do is delete that name. And you could simply rename the range to something else if you wanted. But what you can do is go to the formulas tab and you should see the name manager. Just open that. Okay, I think because of how your screen sharing, we're not seeing it. Or maybe you need to click on it because we're not seeing it.
Yeah. Are you seeing it now?
No, we're not seeing it. I think because Google Meet is not it's considered like a different window, so it's not showing up.
Oh.
Just stop sharing and share your entire screen.
Okay, can you see it now?
All right, so open the name manager now and let's see. We're still not seeing anything. You're presenting your entire screen.
Mm,
I think you need to present your entire screen.
okay.
Good. So try opening the name manager now.
Yeah, I already deleted.
Good.
the-
So this box here, this box that you're seeing here, is the name manager, and you will see all of the ranges that you have named in this spreadsheet that you have here. So she said she already deleted service, so we can do just close the box and rename that range, that the range that you have right now as service. And go back to the name manager. So this service is there, and if you look at the report, it is telling you where that range is. It's inside of the expenses sheet, cells A4 to C7. So if you want to use that name, you can rename it or delete it. So you have the options at the top. You highlight whichever one of um, the range that you want. So highlight service and select delete. Okay. So now she has access to that name and she can be able to use that name anywhere in the spreadsheet. Continue.
Okay, so I have to rename it again.
Yeah, continue the exercise.
Yeah, okay. After that, save the spreadsheet again.
Yeah.
Yes. Moving on to exercise 4. Darnie will take over.
Okay. Use the same expenses sheet to continue. Okay. Cells E10, E11, and E12 enter appropriate functions to calculate the average, cheapest, and most expensive cost respectively.
Good. So for average, we use the average function. Continue. And for the cheapest, we use the min function. And for the most expensive, we use the max function.
Okay. In cell E13, enter an appropriate function to calculate how many services are offered.
Very good. Why are we using count A and not count?
Because count A, it counts cells with values, data labels. Well, count, that's a quick way to count cells with numbers.
Very good. I'll answer your question, Justin Savio.
Okay. In cell E14, enter an appropriate function to calculate how many services had a discounted amount of more than $2,000.
More than 2,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, and save the spreadsheet again.
Okay, I'm done.
So that's it for your exercises. Is there anyone with any question on these exercises we have looked at so far from 23. Anyone need the exercises so far? Any questions up to exercise 4? Or you guys understand everything so far?
Sir, with relative and absolute addressing, relative addressing is like when you want both of the stuff to change,
Yeah,
or at least one. All right, and then absolute is when you don't want one of them to change.
right. Or
All right.
anything to change. Any other questions? All right. I'll assume you guys understand. Um, Thank you very much, Group 6. Yes, Savir, your question. Um, Let me screen share to show you something. So basically, each program, whether that be Microsoft Word, Paint, any software, Microsoft Excel, Adobe Photoshop, any software, each of them have their own files. So a picture file type might be a JPEG, a JPG. A music file would be MP3. You guys should know that. Now, software can only read certain file types. So, in some cases, for those of you who are using Google Sheets and like how Khadijah is using WPS Office, they can work. But in order for you to open it with maybe Excel, Microsoft Excel, you would need to save the file as a format or a file type that would open on Excel. So what I mean is that when you go to File and you go to Save As, the Save As type gives you some different options. Any program, they give you the Save As, and they give you some options as to what you can save that file as. Now, Excel, if you can see it, Excel workbook, it ends with a .xlsx. So if you're using Google Sheets and you want to open it with Microsoft Excel, then you basically need to save it as a .xlsx. Same thing if you're using WPS Office. If you want your friends to be able to view that file, you need to save it, and they have Microsoft Excel. You need to save it as this version here. Understand, Severe?
Sir, so like it all depends on how you save it, and that's it.
Yeah, it all depends on how you save it.
Cause like if somebody sends like the Google one to like my email and I open it, it's not gonna open in Excel. It's gonna open in the Google one.
Yeah, because it all depends on how you save it, and it also depends upon um what's your default application. So, like how when you open a browser, it is open to Chrome because maybe you have Chrome as the default browser. So it's the same
Yes, sir.
an Excel file, any file. If you if your computer has it default to maybe open Google Sheets with a browser, then that is the case. So in some cases, you might have to right click on the file and do open with and open with Microsoft Excel. Or you might have to find a way to change the default to open with Excel. All right, so the next group 7. Yeah, you can start presenting. Exercises 5, 6, and 7. So he's using Google Sheets.
Can everybody see?
Yes, we're seeing. What you can do for us, Keelan, is click on the three dots in the top right corner. Good. You see the Excel file format, xl.xlsx. So if you save it as this file and you get this file here, then you'll be able to open it with Microsoft Excel. But where is the save option, Keelan? Should be giving you a save option.
It's auto save all the time. It's set to auto save.
All right. Click on the bottom left. You can see it four lines. Let me see what's there. Okay, that's just for the sheets. So that auto saves. Yeah. So I think because it's the application, you might not get the file, but somehow if you get the file to save or you get the file to share it somehow to someone, that .xls, they can be able to open it on their computer. Right. Good. So continue. You can start the presentation.
Um, and you're ready.
Yeah, ready.
All right, good. In E2, put job code,
Dot.
job code.
Oh, capital.
No, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
B3, put service, and then B4, put cost. In C2, put SF, capital S, capital F.
Yeah. Wait.
Good. You name the sheet as menu, yeah?
SF.
SF, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. SF.
Good. You name the sheet as menu already?
Okay. Menu.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it name menu.
Okay, good. In cell C3, type equal VLOOKUP,
Equal.
VLOOKUP. Open brackets C2, comma, service, comma, 2,
Two.
yeah,
Okay.
comma, false. Close bracket and press enter.
Next one.
Okay, change the job code in cell C2 to LC.
Aaron, let's read the exercise.
Oh,
L.
everything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This compares SF in cell C2 with every cell in the first column of the services range in the expenses sheet to find SF. Then the data in the second column is selected, storage facility, and shown in cell C3. False is added to the function to indicate that the items in the first column, open bracket job code, are not stored. If they were, you could add true or simply close the bracket, as in equal VLOOKUP, open bracket, C2, comma, service, comma, 2, close bracket.
Good. So, well, the formula is at the bottom of the screen. For those of you who can see, equal VLOOKUP open bracket C2. Keelan, just move the file
Yes, sir.
away because we're getting a lot of feedback from you.
Okay.
Now, equal VLOOKUP C2. So in that case, what is C2?
C2 is the job code that is represented in expenses, sheet expenses.
C2. So in the VLOOKUP formula, go to the VLOOKUP formula. What are you doing with C2? Why did you put C2 there?
Sir, because they want to expand on that word
You want to expand.
or find out what it means.
Okay. Giovanni, anything?
Sir, because this is the value you want to look up.
Very good. That's what I'm looking for. That is the value you want to look up or you want to look for. So C2, remember we don't use actual values. We not that we don't use it, we try to use the cell names because if the information in the cell changes, that means the formula can recalculate itself. That is a more effective formula when we use the cells. So in this case, we use a cell name, cell C2. So whatever is inside of cell C2, whether if it is LC, whether if it is SF, we're going to look for that value. VLOOKUP is going to look for that value. So go over to the table, the other sheet that has that table. Good. So that's his expenses range sheet. So if you notice in the first column, we have the job codes. We have FL, we have LC, SF, and PT. VLOOKUP looks for a value. You tell it what to look for. That's the lookup value. And whenever it finds a value, it brings back a value in that same row. So row 6 has SF as the job code and storage facility as the name of that service. So that is why it could have brought back storage facility. So anything in that row, if it finds SF, anything in that row, it can bring back into the new sheet or wherever you want to put it. So that 2050 could have been brought back. The quantity could have been brought back. Anything could have been brought back in that row. Now, another question. Say, go back to the menu sheet. Now, open back the formula. The lookup value is C2, which is the job code. Now, go back to the expenses sheet. If you were to change that lookup cell, if you were to change it to, say for instance, if you were to switch it around and go back to menu, If you were to switch LC in the formula, change it to LC, change it to landing charge. Good. And so now you're switching it around. You're searching for the landing charge, and just say the bottom one is the job code. Will the VLOOKUP formula work? So, can you get the VLOOKUP formula to work to give you the job code if you are searching for the landing charge? Go back to the go back to the expenses table, expenses sheet. We're gonna stay here. So, if I'm searching for the service name, if I'm searching for fuel and gas or landing charge, can I pull over the job code into the menu sheet with a VLOOKUP formula?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Giovanni?
No, I don't think so, sir.
Why not?
I think we'd have to use like B5.
What do you mean you have to use B5? No, forget about the formula. Just listen to the question. Forget about the formula. If you're gonna use the service names like fuel, landing charge, storage, and so on, if you're gonna use those names as the lookup value, what you're looking for, can you remember when you look for a value, anything in that row can be pulled over into any other place. So if you're looking for landing charge, the question is, can you pull the job code over to the other sheets?
I think you can.
Aaron says he thinks so. Jemani?
Sir, I ain't too sure.
Not sure. Keelan, any opinions, suggestions? Welcome, Latrell. 5 minutes before class ends.
Sir, I'll Blackwood, sir.
Okay. So, the question is, if we're looking at landing charge, if we're looking at port fees, can we pull over job codes? And the answer is no. We cannot pull over job code. Go back to the expenses sheet. The answer is no. We cannot pull over job code. We cannot pull over landing code. Is there anyone that knows the answer as to why we cannot pull over job code and landing code? The job codes if we're using the service as the lookup value. Anyone in class? Anyone?
Sir, because they're
Sir,
in the range.
because it would only be the values on your service, once on the service.
Remember, the entire range is called services from the job code all the way to the end of the table. It was already named services. So the range is correct. The table that it's looking at is correct. The range is correct. Everything is correct. But if we look at service, why can't we see job code?
Sir, is it because VLOOKUP only looks to the right of the value you want to look up?
Very good. That is the correct answer. VLOOKUP only looks to the right. That's something you need to remember. So that is why when you're creating your table, you try to put the value that you're searching for in the first column. That is why the job code is in the first column. It is in column E because that is the value you're going to be looking for. You can't look for you can look for services, the service name, but just that you would not be able to pull over the job code because VLOOKUP does not look to the left. It only looks to the right. So from that first column to the right, anything it sees. So in this case, with that example there, it could not have pulled over the job code. All right, let's recreate your formula and continue the exercise. Right, so I was asking, Jomani said C2 is a lookup value. So what would service be in this formula? Aaron and Jomani? What would service be in that formula? Open back the formula. What would service be?
Sir, service
Uh-huh.
service would be the range in expenses in the sheet expenses.
Okay. So why are we using it? So basically, why are we using it?
Sir, because when you put the job code as LC and when you put service, remember VLOOKUP only looks to the right of the set or the range of whatever you put. So when you highlight that certain range, it only looks to the right.
Okay. Basically, what I was looking for is that service is used because that is where you are telling VLOOKUP to look for the data. That range there is used because you're telling VLOOKUP that is where the data is located. That is where C2, that is where anything in cell C2 is located. So why is the number 2 there?
Sir, the row number.
Jumani?
So it's like the column number.
It is the column number. So why are we putting the column number?
So because they get like the all the information that you want.
Good. So you guys need to understand it's not just about creating the formula that's inside the exercise. You need to understand the different parts of the formula. Why are we creating this formula in this way? The two in that formula is because you want the second column, and the second column has the service name. Um, and why is there a false?
Because the information is inserted.
Good, very good. Continue now.
in cell in cell C4, type equal VLOOKUP, open bracket, C2, comma, service.
I already do the one.
No, it's the continuation. Comma 3, comma false. Press enter. This compares LC in C2 with every cell in the first column of the services range in the expenses sheet to find LC. Then the data in the third column is selected, open bracket, landing charge, and shown in cell C4. Now change the job code in C2 from LC to HE. Notice that an error appears in cells C3 and C4. This is because the code is not found in the services range of data. Save the spreadsheet again.
Alright, we're gonna stop here for today. Tomorrow we're gonna continue the rest of exercises. And then we'll look at our assignments. So, is there anyone with any question on any of the exercises that we covered so far? The VLOOKUP, the anything else? These functions that you are looking at will come in your SBA, and I'm already seeing that we're gonna have a very fun time with the SBA. So if you don't try to understand it now, I don't know what will happen then.
Sir, they done everything, sir?
You still have to continue exercise 6 and 7 tomorrow.
Oh.
Alright then, seems no one has any questions. That means we have come to the end of today's class. If you don't have any other questions, you are free to leave. Enjoy your lunch, enjoy your day.
Good day, sir. Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.